are serious about me being here and me being in this relationship with you, you can call your family and tell them that I'm home right now, and we can go from there.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. We are talking to you guys about love after lockup, baby. We're talking to you guys about Ray and dealing with Brittany. And we know that obviously Brittany feels slightly not ashamed, but she doesn't want to upset her parents. But what I love is about Ray's effective pressure that he applied to Brittany. He said, no. You ain't about to put me on the bench, sis. I need to let the family know that I'm out here, baby. And I want to talk a little bit more about those kind of conversations where should you be letting your partner know that, should you be pressuring your partner to tell their family when they don't feel ready to as of yet. We're going to discuss a bit more of that as we come up. Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, you click on that bell button for notification of uploads. For those of people who are returnees, you got the minerals, you got the minerals. That note was slightly off, but don't worry about that. Okay, we don't have to worry about that. What you need to worry about is staying hydrated because the streets out there are hot. Yes, they are hot. Get your bottle down below, get your merchandise down below as well. Don't forget as well, grab your hoodie as well. Send them back to the manufacturer. Why? Because if they're not fit for purpose, send them back to the source. You understand? If they're not going to do what they need to do, send them back to the source. Anyway, before we get the conversation flowing, get it going, let's get the outro going. Little Black Book, you know what time it is. Yes, we're talking to you guys about obviously Brittany and Ray, and what I loved was their conversation because he really did apply pressure, and I think it's a correct type of pressure that's been applied in this relationship. Look, very often in relationships, what can happen in a situation such as this, where he is obviously he's been in prison, he's got an ankle monitor on, he can't work at the moment, but relationships are so funny because it may not be that your partner's in prison. It may not be your partner's on ankle tag. It may be your partner doesn't have a job. Maybe your partner doesn't have a certain car. Maybe your partner doesn't earn a certain amount of money. And your family is going to judge them. What's so important is what actually Brittany highlighted, which is she doesn't want to make Ray feel like she doesn't appreciate him or make it feel like he's not wanted, right? Based on the family's perception. Right, because that's always a very difficult thing. Your family have a very high esteem of you. They have high estimations, high standards, and they want you to have the absolute best. They want to make sure that you are at the tip-top shape, right? And so with that, I can see why Brittany may feel a certain type of way, right? She's expressed quite clearly that, her family can be a little bit judgmental, especially her mother. And what she doesn't want is like the wedge to be drawn between herself and Ray due to the fact that they have their own sentiments and feelings. The trouble with that is they have their own sentiments, but you are not being fully open and transparent with Ray. So he doesn't actually know where he stands. What I love about Ray is that he made a very good point. He said, obviously, look, he himself, he felt stressed by the situation, but he also said as well, he wants to be able to have the family's blessing. He understands the importance of having the family's blessing. And I think that in itself is so key and so important, because it shows, again, he's thinking about her. He's not just thinking about himself. He's thinking about her. He's thinking about the family. He's thinking about his start that he has, We can watch a little bit here as well, and I'll show you the clip.
You know how I was brought up. You had that respect for the parents. Without the parents' blessings, it's like you really can't have a stable relationship.
See, I love that. And he's obviously very close to his family because he brought the family over. They had a good dinner as well. So she's the only one that hasn't brought her family yet, because I think she understands that dynamics could potentially shift and change. And she doesn't want to spoil it just yet. They're still setting the foundation. That's what's going through her mind. I get it. We're still setting we're new outside anyway, and we're still trying to set the foundation right so that I can present you to my parents. The trouble is, you never will have a better time to. When is he going to get a job? When is he going to get a good enough job? When is he going to get to that place where he can impress your parents? He's never going to get there. So start now. If you really are serious about him, you've moved him in, start now. Let your parents know that you stand on your own 2 feet and you make your mistakes by yourself, and you will own your mistakes by yourself. That's also important as well, that you own your mistakes by yourself. You're not looking for anybody else. You understand that, hey, I've got to make these decisions me. I've got to be able to stand on my own 2 feet. I've got to say how I feel, what I want, and let boundaries be placed with myself and the parents. I think also what is another good point about this is the unification aspect when it comes to relationships. Having a unified vision and front is so important. What we see with Brittany is that she hasn't told Ray the true reason as to why she's not bringing the parents. And so it creates this illusion of, creates this sentiment of fear that begins to creep into Ray. He's like, I'm not really sure where you feel, how you're thinking. And that is because he's not getting the full truth, right? Like when he puts that pressure on her to make sure she tells her family, I think it's so important, because what he's really saying is, I don't want you to feel like, I don't want to feel like I don't want to feel like I'm an embarrassment to you. If that's the case, I don't need to be here, right? Let them know what I'm about. You've chosen me. You want me. Let them know. Don't now try to flip it and be like, the reason why is because I don't want it to overload you. And see, then you start making these excuses which don't really settle and don't bang, and then it causes issue in your relationship. All right. So, and his dad gave him some really great advice. Like, why would it be overwhelming? Like, you didn't ask me if it would be overwhelming. You assumed for me. And I think that's another thing I've noticed. So that assumption for me that he will be overwhelmed. But number two, also, she said, obviously, if you follow me and the way I'm going to do it, it'll all work out. I think she thinks she has to take on the load, because she is taking the financial load, right? She's got the house, she's got the money, she's got the car, and everything like that. So she's probably thinking, I need to lead on this too. But he's trying to let her know, listen, hey, look, this is a good idea. Here's a good idea. Let the parents know while gone. If you're serious about moving forward, if you're serious. And now she's got a decision to make. Does she move forward and tell the parents? Well, she did. She told her dad at least anyway. Or does she not tell the parents? Right? Her biggest fear is to be a disappointment. And when that is one of your biggest fears, it's very difficult to want to bring something to your parents that you know they will disapprove of. And that in itself must begin to play on the mind of Ray. That in itself must get back to Ray. That in itself must be feedback in terms of energy back to Ray. And so that's why she needs to assure him by making these decisions of notifying the parents, let them, hey, look, I've made a decision. Because otherwise, we're going to have these negative waves that are going to come towards him. So it's important. It's important, right? So, I like Ray. I like Brittany as well. I think they have a good chance of making it. I think he's a family orientated man. And he's very conscious in what he does, it seems. He actually seems quite all put together. Do you know what I mean? And knows what he wants. And the family behind him is so important too, because it means he's going to be accountable, right? Seemingly, anyway, seemingly. But yeah, I do understand Brittany, where she's coming from. This is a conversation that needs to happen. Look, let me let you know about my family before they get here. There are X, Y, and Z, and they will do X, Y, and Z, and they will think X, Y, and Z. I don't want you to think that's what I think. I think differently. But I wanted you to meet my family, because I wanted you to know this is where I come from. And irrespective of whether they agree with you or not, it's my decision. That will give him assurance, but that will allow you to explain where you're coming from, so that he also has understanding, and he can also show that empathy as well towards yourself. When we don't allow others to understand us, they will struggle to have empathy for us, because that empathy is coming from the understanding. Right? So Brittany, let the boy know why you didn't want to bring your parents first and foremost. Let him know, communicate that. Let's stand as a unit. Let's stand as one together rather than stand as individuals. All right. So yeah, guys, that's what I wanted to add. Let us know your thoughts down below. Comment, like, share, subscribe, and click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. Little Black Hood, you know what time it is.